using nature as therapy or healing or connectivity to the earth we're all born from in some form or fashion and return to. There's really no better place to do that than in Yellowstone, where the level of preservation on the ecosystem is unparalleled in the world. I continue to do this work because it's more and more important and imperative that as we, as humans, alter our reality and our existence from the natural world into the world we've created of, some might call it the 9 to 5, we'll call it, money, cars, an apartment, the internet, social media, etc., etc., etc. We lose that connection to the natural world that we are part of. So I do this work to connect people to that because in Yellowstone, you can't avoid it.
Let's hear from my guide on Yellowstone Lake, Brian from Geyser Kayaking, as he discusses how he sees the real-time benefits of ecotherapy during his backpacking and kayaking tours there.
My name is Brian. I'm a guide here in the Yellowstone front country and back country for the past 11 years. Been fortunate enough to live in the Yellowstone ecosystem for over 2 decades. And as far as connecting with nature and using nature as therapy or healing or connectivity to the earth we're all born from in some form or fashion and return to, there's really no better place to do that than in Yellowstone, where the level of preservation on the ecosystem is unparalleled in the world. I continue to do this work because it's more and more important and imperative that as we, as humans, alter our reality and our existence from the natural world into the world we've created of, some might call it the 9 to 5, we'll call it, money, cars, an apartment, the internet, social media, etc., etc., etc. We lose that connection to the natural world that we are part of. So I do this work to connect people to that because in Yellowstone, you can't avoid it. It's impossible. And slowing down here, and a lot of folks say, I have no cell phone service, I'm checking out, and I like to say, you're checking in. This has all been going on for thousands of years. You sit out here on the lake, you look across on a beautiful evening like tonight, you smell the earth, you see the mountains, you see the snow, you hear an elk walking through the forest, and that information that you don't even know you have, the DNA of creation that's inside each and every one of us, the stuff you're just born with, it floods to the surface, and spiritually and mentally, it's extremely healthy, and it makes you more human than any amount of money, any social media fame, any job that you climb the ladder to the top. And as we continue as a species down the road in evolution, it becomes more and more important that we have places like this to check into so we can have that connectivity so we don't forget. And so many people I have show up here, they're racing around, they're late, they're used to driving through traffic, and we get out on the lake here and all of a sudden we're going the speed of boat, and you can just see the humanity emerge and emit from them, and people get real quiet a lot of the time. And what that is the energy of the world is flowing through them. There's connectivity between the atoms in the waters and the trees and the atoms with us. It's all conservation of mass. Whatever was, is, and will be. I'm not officially a nature therapist, but I do this work to connect people to nature, and I feel like it's very important. At least I tell myself that. So.
Can you share some about the wolves being returned to Yellowstone in the mid-90s and the changes in the environment and the positive impact and about restoring keystone species like the bison, the wolves, the beavers, and what it's done to Yellowstone?
Yellowstone is a laboratory, The level of preservation here has allowed us to play as humans. And you got to remember, things like the word ecosystem are new in time, so to speak. We're not talking like 1960s. These ideas come around, and in 1970s we kind of experiment, and then by the 80s and 90s they're put into law and by Congress. Even the Wilderness Act of '78, for example, is a big one. Endangered Species Act, another big one. The poor gray wolf had to wait till 1995 to get reintroduced, and we were able to kind of do this experiment and see, well, what happens if we put these guys back here in an area that's massive, 2.2 million acres in size, and they're totally protected and isolated from the impacts of humans. And what we saw is restoration to the nature's imperfect perfection, okay? The balance of an ecosystem is kind of like this, okay? So nature's always doing this. You get rid of the gray wolf, the pendulum swings way up here, specifically with the elk population. 1995, you have 20,000 head of elk just in Lamar Valley. One valley, it's a big valley, on the northern range in the park here. Today, in 2026, across the whole park, our population is about 10 to 15,000 head of elk. How does this relate to, like, the poor little beaver? So, elk browse, okay, soft woods. Specifically, they like little aspen shoots. That's their favorite little num num num. But they'll peel bark off the aspen trees, the box elder cottonwoods. So they eat those softwoods that beavers build their dams out of. Okay, and a beaver builds a dam to make a refrigerator. The beaver likes the green shoots too. It'll take this time of year in the spring all the little fresh growth, and at the bottom of the dam, it'll stuff it in the mud. Then all winter long, it can swim on down there, open up the fridge, and it preserves those fresh, energy-rich green shoots underneath the ice in the wintertime. So the elk overgraze what the beaver needs, all right? The beaver population goes away. Now, when a beaver dam pulls up water in a creek, well, that's what moose need in the summertime to regulate their body temperature. So wolves will eat moose, absolutely. But you get rid of something that eats the moose, and it all affects the moose negatively. So in scientific terms, they call that trophic cascade. And I call it the Lion King circle of life. Maz and Benya, everything's connected.
Yeah.
So predators, all this prey, it's this perfect, imperfect balance that nature just strikes. And it's amazing we have Yellowstone as this kind of living laboratory to like learn this stuff. It's very fortunate.
So now it's been, 30 years since the return of the wolves. What other positive benefits have come from the return of the wolves?
Well, the wolf population expanded from the park and across the whole northern Rockies, so now you have, from the initial 100 or so animals reintroduced here and in the Frank Church Wilderness in Idaho in 1995, we're talking 4,000 to 5,000 animals. Idaho and Montana both have populations well over 1,000 animals. And so you're not just restoring the ecosystem in this park, like there's no fences around Yellowstone. Yeah. So the wolves go here, they go there. So they're helping balance out that ecosystem outside of the park as well. And the population here has stabilized. I like the term analogy of like you put goldfish into a tank. The tank's only so big. Some of the goldfish eat the other ones, and then the ones that are there, only so many can be there. So the tank here is now full, and it has been, and you're seeing a lot of benefit, and that'll continue into the future.
Okay.
With the park as well. So.
Well, thank you so much, Brian. And you're with your Geyser Kayak Tours.
Geyser Kayak Tours, Yellowstone National Park. We do day trips here in the West Thumb twice daily out to the Geyser Basin. And we do multi-day kayak camping expeditions into the backcountry of Yellowstone Lake and Lewis and Shoshone Lakes as well. We'll take you out for up to 7 days and camp and kayak in the backcountry.
Oh, and so do you need to be experienced, or you take care of all that? You can go
we take everything. We're a full outfitting service. We'll make all the food. We'll worry about all the tents, logistics, reserving campsites. You show up with your clothes and a water bottle, and we'll take you out.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, thank you.